Okay, this is the more detailed version about the aluminum can battery. So I'm going to start out describing how I made this thing, describe some uses for it, hopefully, and yeah. So these are just organizing trays. And then I got a smaller organizing tray that fits inside of this. Got to drill holes on the inside here, on the insides of these tiny trays, so that the salt water can go through. But the purpose of these smaller trays was actually as something to ensure that the aluminum was separate from the carbon fiber felt. Normally you would use some kind of separator like a paper towel or something like that to ensure that you don't have direct contact between the aluminum, which is the anode, and the carbon fiber, which is the cathode. But rather than use a paper towel, I'd rather just be able to stick an aluminum can in there and then go, right? And then this carbon fiber I bought it in a bulk long sheet that was like came as a roll, and then I cut out little strips. Use these little plastic clips, which are normally for food storage clips, I think. And then describe the electrical conductivity here. This is the anode for this whole set. It is here, which is your negative, goes into the multimeter. And then that connects to the soda can via the tab of the can, and then goes through the electrolyte, and then into the cathode, which is the carbon fiber felt here. So this carbon fiber felt should not get used up. The thing that should get used up and oxidize is actually the can, and the reaction there, it actually will generate hydrogen gas though. So there's actually hydrogen coming off of this right now, which is flammable. So if you lit, I don't think I could actually light it, but there is hydrogen coming off of here. So you want to ensure you're in a ventilated area if you're doing this for now. But also imagine that later you could collect that hydrogen. And then I have, there's another video I made several months ago about hydrogen fuel cells. You could collect that hydrogen gas and then use that with the oxygen just from the environment, and then create additional electricity from that. So you'd probably want to combine something like this with a hydrogen fuel cell, and then the output of the hydrogen fuel cell would also be water. Yeah. And then the water could go back into here. So let's see. So I got like 1 volt per cell for each of these, but you'll see here. So I dip down after using it, and you'll see if I move the cans a little bit, sometimes the voltage will go back up, and you know why? It's because I didn't really stir the salt water that well, because I didn't really care that much. But yeah, normally you'd want to stir your salt water before you put it in there and try to make a video for people. I think I just wanted to say I didn't really finish with the electrical connection. So negative here to the soda can, to the salt water, to the cathode, which is the carbon fiber, and then connect an alligator clip to the carbon fiber that goes into the tab of this can, etc. And then your final cathode is the end here, which goes back into this. I think several videos ago I did another one, so I wanted to explain that these carbon fiber felt, I think this is actually a little expensive. Before I had done a video using this activated carbon that you can buy at like fish stores, pet stores, and this stuff is actually just this black crushed up charcoal is what that is. And so rather than using carbon fiber felt, you can actually just use a piece of charcoal and attach the alligator clip to the charcoal if it is conductive, and this would still work. But yeah, so I wanted to say that. Let's talk about this. So the plan was to connect this up and see what kind of current I could get out of it. And can it make a USB device run? Can it charge your phone? Sort of, not really. So the highest voltage I could get out of this, right now you'll see it's at 4.9 volts. So I'm just going to disconnect it from the multimeter here. And connect it up to this thing that I bought, and then I tore it apart and to get the leads out. And so this is some kind of emergency phone charger thing that normally accepts D-cell batteries. And so I just ripped it open, and it's supposed to charge USB devices. There's proprietary resistor things in these boards that allow phones to charge properly, if you didn't know. And that's why you have to buy a new cable for all your different types of devices, because they make it proprietary in the chargers, which is this really horrible thing to do. Yeah, but so anyway, so I just went out and bought something that already said it could charge multiple devices. But really, like, most of the time, if you just had 5 volts at 1 amp, like, you know, it would charge your device. But they put these weird resistors in these chips here to make you pay more money. Isn't that great? So anyway, this thing also has a light on it. So you see it lights up this LED strip with this button. And then it has some yellow light, and yeah. And then I guess the last option is USB. So let's see, can it, so I did actually, so I said I got 6 volts. But when I went to check amps with short circuiting the battery, I think I was getting like 0.4 milliamps or something. Now I'm using salt water, obviously, so was expecting something like that. But so no, that's not going to charge your phone at that level. So what you would need to do normally is have multiple of these connected in parallel, multiple units of this connected in parallel, and then you could get enough current to actually be able to provide that to your phone. But can it run this other USB device? This is some little USB device that takes almost no current. It's just got some LEDs and a sensor on there. And yes, it can. And what does this thing do, you think? Well, it's actually a sound, it has a sound sensor on there, and if I clap, it'll change the color of the LEDs. Wow. But the useful thing about this is I can test, hey, is this actually providing power to this? So I did actually test this thing before, just using a power supply to ensure I had the right connections. And I was able to charge my phone between 4 and 6 volts provided to this thing. But it was, of course, using more current, which is more than this can provide with the cans. But it can run low current USB devices out of this, so that's good. And then let's connect it up back to a USB, to an LED, sorry. And keep talking for a minute. The aluminum cans, so those oxidize, and then you can replace them later. So here's an LED. Let me see if I can see the brightness there. It looks okay. That's pretty bright. So for LEDs, you normally just need 3 volts at 20 milliamps, I think, to get the brightness out of, at least for white ones, is 3 volts. For red, it's like less. Yeah, but that's really bright compared to like the turbo electric nano generators that I normally make. That's like a real flashlight there. That's a nice brightness. But so I wanted to say, what else? So you're actually, the carbon fiber felt will stay normal. Obviously this electrolyte is gonna evaporate over time. But the aluminum cans, they'll corrode, they'll rust, they'll get this very white film on them, which is an aluminum oxide. And then the aluminum oxide will probably come off into the water here, into the salt water, and it'll get kind of sludgy over time. But ideally you just replace these cans when the voltage goes low, and then maybe once every month or so dump out the electrolyte and put some more water and salt in there, and then you would have this working. I'm not sure how much hydrogen gas this is really producing though, so yeah, you might want to be safe doing this at home. Oh, I do have a lighter. Let's see. Let's see if there's any hydrogen gas. Not really. So, I mean, it would collect in there, you know, but yeah, it's not making a whole lot of hydrogen gas. Now, this is a pretty well ventilated garage though. But yeah, so that would be the one thing you'd have to be concerned about. So if you were actually generating a whole lot of current, if instead you replace the electrolyte in here with something like drain cleaner, you would get a higher current out of this, and you might be able to actually charge your phone. That's the other thing. So rather than building multiple of these things in parallel, you could actually just replace the salt water with something more acidic, like drain cleaner, or potassium, what is it, potassium hydroxide or something, and then that would give you more current, and that might work. There's a lot of things you could do to improve this, but in those situations you would also definitely get more hydrogen gas buildup. But this one though, I think it's safe enough. I think like just normal ventilation, like in your house, I don't think this is gonna like cause a hydrogen explosion in your house. If you're using just salt water, that is. Yeah. So anyway, that's all I wanted to say. I guess that's a lot of things. I kind of skipped around and had a couple tangents. But it's kind of cool because this is aluminum cans as a fuel source. And you can imagine so this can be done a lot more efficiently, right? So imagine in the future, I wanted to say, yeah, about the future, right? Remember in Back to the Future where the doc goes up to his car and he shoves a can in there, and then that helps run his car? That was getting me thinking, how can I do it so I can just put a can in there and have that work rather than strips of aluminum or something? I want to use an actual soda can. But you can imagine in the future, you know, you go to the gas station, they give you some slab of aluminum, you shove that into your car and you keep going, right? You pull out the old aluminum, or you drain the electrolyte sludge out somewhere, and then you stick a new block of aluminum in and you keep going, and all they're doing is selling you aluminum rather than gas or something. But this, I don't know. Is this just one of those things that you would I don't know. I still like it. I like it. All right. That's all I want to say. Anyway, have a nice day. Have a nice week. All right, bye guys.